Welcome back to our message from our divine, compassionate guides. My name is Julianne Duffy, and my purpose is to live, speak, and seek the truth in all forms to help reconnect humanity to its highest form of authenticity. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I am pulling from the Rose Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell, and I'm pulling on what guidance the divine guides have for our new moon in Gemini for today. It's June 6th. And what the message is, what guidance they have for us as we come into this beautiful new moon. As always, my intention is these messages will help heal and serve you in the most appropriate way. So let's get right into it. We're doing a 4-card spread. We're going to first start with what we're seeing, then of course go on to what we're not seeing, possible outcomes, and then of course what guidance we have from the divine. So let's go into what we are seeing. So the first part of our message, the second bloom, a second chance. It's never too late. New possibilities. So right off the bat, intuitively, I'm getting that this is some change. There's a second chance. It's that new possibility of going back to something that we've already experienced and having that rewrite of it, that type of idea, that idea that whatever we maybe came across or whatever we've done or whatever we're seeing, this is now the second time we're going to have it come around, and there's going to be some changes with it. So it's not too late. It might still be, it's still happening around us. We're going to get that second chance, but there's going to be some differences to it, some new possibilities, some changes. So this one, of course, is the card of second chances, new beginnings, regeneration, and reinventing yourself. It's not too late to surrender to what's blooming within you. All that matters is that you surrender to the buds that are longing to grow and be known. No matter your age or what have previously occurred, this card is an invitation to surrender to the second bloom, to welcome the new and share it with the world, to acknowledge the secret passions, longings, creations, and yearnings, and let them bud and bloom. If we properly allow things to end, new beginnings will always come. If we surrender to the cycles of life, after winter, spring will always return. If we tend to the seeds in the fertile earth, they'll eventually emerge. So just as we think the season's over, as the winter draws near, some roses bless us with an unexpected second bloom. If this card appears in a spread, it's a likely sign that you too are set for a second bloom. Perhaps you have a creation that's waiting to be brought forth, or maybe a new relationship or passion for life. Maybe it's waiting to be born I can speak today. What might be needing to be bloomed or born is a new version of yourself. So being open to change and to life, that there's a lot happening. We might be born again, a renewed sense, being open to say yes to life. So eventually, as we take our last breath, you will do so while still fully living. So I feel like right overall, that's saying that there is some change coming for sure. And we might think certain things have already disappeared and have gone, we're not going to see them come back, but we're going to see some things reappear that we thought were no longer going to be in our lives. And it's interesting because my astrologer talks about I want to avoid certain words so I don't come up as with fact checking, but the astrologer I follow, so I find this interesting. He's talking about over these last 3-4 years, the illness that was prominent. It's like we're going to have a resurgence of that same energy that was around it. So I'm wondering if that's really what we're going to be seeing, is this resurgent of that type of situation, maybe not the exact time, but very similar, new possibilities, a second blooming of that type of situation. For yourself, it could be that might be on the whole. It could be something very different for yourself, but that's interesting because he's mentioned that just because a lot of things that you thought were already done and dealt with might be coming back. And I feel like that's really what we're seeing here, is certain things that we thought were done and long gone and we're going to move on are going to be coming back into our lives. Now we're going to jump into what we're not seeing. So what are we not seeing right now in this situation with the new moon in Gemini? the anointed. Answer the call, leadership, empowerment, and soul gifts. Well, we definitely aren't necessarily seeing, depending on where you are and the situation, I know we're not really seeing a lot of good leaderships. So that maybe what we're finding is that there's this call for leadership, and a call to walk into our gifts and empowering us as souls. And what this card says is rose oil has been used to anoint initiatives through the ages, royalty as well. This card is here to herald you into an even more powerful expression of what you came here to be and do. It's calling you to step forth into your inner queendom or kingdom, to answer the greatest call of your soul and face your true north, to seed even more of what you came to share, to acknowledge your arrival as an initiate of your life, to shed the external noise that may have stopped you from being all that you already are, to realize that you've been training for this for a long time, perhaps even many lifetimes. The path your soul choose to walk in is one that few have the courage to walk. And you came here for this. You're being led through this. Your soul is ancient, and with every step you've taken in every body you've been planted in, you've gathered a kaleidoscope of gifts that are ready to be shown and shared. So this one is about being called deeply to trust the call that you've been hearing, to lead, to lead, to lead. And the path that you're here to pave has not been walked in, and you're leading that. So that's interesting, because we pulled that this week about how we're really those light guides and those leaders. So it's, again, that same kind of idea. And as with all ancient initiates, healers, visionaries, creatives, and leaders, you're just one magnificent thread in the tapestry of life. So go your own way, trust the road is beckoning you forth, and you'll always be led from within. So this one is about how you're being called to step forward and lead. So first off, so again, kind of a quick review. We're having things that are coming back, new possibilities with a second bloom of something that is coming back into our lives. And what we're not seeing here is that we're being called to become those leaders. This is like the behind the ground, is that there is a bunch of us with these beautiful soul gifts that were meant to be leaders during this time. And that's the background of how the divine is supporting us during this new moon, really pushing us to start going forward and know that we are these spiritual leaders. Now, our possible outcomes of what is going to happen with this new moon in Gemini, the crowning, initiation, thresholds, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. So the possible outcoming is you're going to go into that divine being that you are meant to be. Like, you're going to get a seat at the big table, the big kids table, the big spiritual table. So, we're getting that second chance. We're really being guided to take that lead. We are the anointed. We are these spiritual beings. If you're watching this, you've been called to come here and listen to this message. And you've got the gifts that need to show up during this time. And the outcome is as a rebirth of yourself, diving into your soul and that spiritual being that you are meant to be. There comes a time when the flower knows that it can no longer remain in the protective constraints of the bud. However, it needs to trust in the birthing energy and surrender to the unknown of the bloom. The same birthing energy exists within all of nature and in birth, both physical and metaphorical, physical and metaphorical. It's an initiation for the mother as well as the child to transition from the water world of the womb to a whole new one on earth. So the card of crossing thresholds and walking through the gates of initiation requires great courage and faith. There's a rolling contradictions, and it's almost always not straightforward. As we transition from one thing to another, we're called to burst through the constraints of the seed and then the certainty of the bud so that something new can bloom. So we're always birthing something new. But how is life, the possible outcome is, how is life really trying to initiate you to come into this beautiful spiritual path. You are being initiated because you are a leader. You are a spiritual leader. You are here to help guide those. And the outcome is that you're going to be rebirthed through this leadership and through this time of the new moon in Gemini, and being crowned to be a beautiful divine being that you always were. And what we are being guided, what are we specifically being guided to do at this time? That is the Great Mother. We are being guided to surrender to the mystery of life, and fall into the arms of the unknown, and trust the unknown. That's kind of the summary of it. The Great Mother ushered you in when you took your first breath, and she'll be there when you draw your last. She knows how challenging life on earth can be. At times, being human can be painful, lonely, and confusing. That the polarity and separation can be difficult when your soul remembers the oneness of Source. But at the same time, it can be incredibly glorious and sweet. This life is but a single breath in the inextinguishable existence of your experience as a soul. Hand over your worries, hurt, sorrow, fears, and doubts to the Great Mother. Return to the sureness of the soil and fall fully into her arms. Surrender to the mystery woven through it all. And then again, it tells us to remember these are extreme times. They can be difficult, but also magnificent at the same time. And the unrestrained joy is closer to grief than we think. And perhaps the more wildly the pendulum of your life swings, the more you can say, I have truly lived. So this one is really about embracing the extremes of the life. And that is our guidance at this time, that we're probably going to be seeing a lot of extremes on ends. And we are really being told to surrender and embrace the changes and all the stuff that is happening. And that's going to assist us as we see things repeat with a slightly different outcome, that we are being guided in the background to be the leaders. We are these anointed kings and queens of this realm. We are spiritual beings. We have always been here to initiate and become the new, and to spiritually grow. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's the outcome. We're going to be reborn. We're going to be the rebirth, we're going to get a seat at the big spiritual table. And what we're being guided to do is really, it's kind of like going with the flow. Surrender with the mystery of the life. Whatever we see happen, especially during this times that can be quite chaotic, it is up to us to really hold our center and really be that spiritual light for those that are going to struggle even more than we are, because we'll probably still struggle. However, we have to remember people are going to be struggling more, especially those that are not very connected to the divine and haven't been doing that deep work. There's going to be a lot of stuff that might be really scary and difficult to go through. And we have to be the ones that surrender to it and can keep that balance and that stability during this time. So that is our message from the guides for this new moon in Gemini. And as always, my intention is this will help heal and serve you as we go forward. And, with this time period, it's going to be the days even before this, would have been the days maybe before the 6th, when this is being posted for the 6th, for the day of the new moon, or the new moon in Gemini, and of course going after. These are interesting times, and we are really being guided to get our bearings, surrender, and find our footing, because we're here to lead. Again, we keep getting this message that we are leaders among the humans here. We are the spiritual beings that are here to guide, and we're going to be reborn and get that seat at the big spiritual table, like I said, because we're going to see things repeat. It's a second chance to go through this again. And if we're taking it the right way, we're going to step it up, and we're going to grow and advance more than we could ever believe. And it's going to move quickly. So that is our message. Again, thank you for joining me. And please, if you haven't, do subscribe to stay up to date with my messages. And until tomorrow, have a beautiful day. Namaste.